Hey guys, it's Coach Hutcheson. This is your video for week 7. Instructions on what you're going to be doing for the week. So I just want to get into it with you and just briefly describe the expectations for the week. But before I do that, just want to remind you, okay, this is the 6 weeks. We started taking grades starting with the week 5 assignments. If you have not done those yet, the grades are already intact. If you didn't do the work, there's an M put in there for missing. Right now it's averaging as a 0, but the M is there to let you know and remind me of what you have and have not done. You have all the way till the end of this thing to get that work done. Okay, so just because you didn't do week 5 and it's listed as missing right now does not mean that you can't go back and do it. Okay, you can go back and do it. As a matter of fact, I need you to go back and do it. So just remember that. So week 5 grades are in the grade book. Week 6 stuff is due Sunday night, which is today for me. Probably Monday or whatever, whenever you're watching this video, but those assignments are due on Sunday, May 3rd. So if you haven't done those, please make sure that you get them done. I'll probably start grading those probably starting tomorrow or Tuesday, and should have all your grades in the grade book for week 6 intact or hack by Wednesday. So again, don't forget, you can always go back and do that work if you haven't done it already. Okay. Also, don't worry about going back into weeks 1 through 4. That stuff was for 5th, 6 weeks. That stuff's over with. You didn't get graded on those things. We were just looking at whether or not you were doing the work or not. So don't waste your time going back and worrying about weeks 1 through 4. Okay, just worry about weeks 5 and on. So this is week 7. So this is actually already the 3rd week of the last grading period. Okay, so what I want y'all to do this week is you're going to be looking specifically just one case study. We've been talking about human impact on the environment, and one of the things that happened recently and locally, very relative to Texas, is back in 2010. I know that's a long time ago, but back in 2010, a drilling rig called the Deepwater Horizon exploded. And you can see in the video here some of the video of that explosion and the people talking about it. And I'll put this video along with a couple other ones in the classroom for you to kind of get caught up visually with what happened with the Deepwater Horizon. There's a movie that came out in 2016 with Mark Wahlberg titled Deepwater Horizon. Super movie, really good, does a really good job explaining what led up to what human errors and human stubbornness led to the explosion. It doesn't go into the environmental effects. You will go into the environmental effects for this case study. The movie doesn't do that. The movie just goes with what led up to the explosion and then the people that were on the drilling rig getting off. So really good movie. I've looked on all the streaming services. It's not free right now anywhere. You can rent it for like $3.99, but if you have the channel FXX, it is going to be on Tuesday, I believe, around 2:30, maybe 1:30, somewhere around that time. But if you get a chance to watch that movie, it is a really good movie and does a really good job portraying the stupidity and the bravery of some humans in a very difficult, stressful situation. So I do recommend, if you get a chance, to go out there and try to watch that movie if you can. Okay. So down to the assignment is this. You have an article about the Deepwater Horizon, and it's broken down in segments. So it briefly talks here about what led up to the explosion, what led the leaking oil, how much oil was leaking out, what were the efforts that the Coast Guard and other organizations took to try to stem the oil from continuing to leak out into the Gulf of Mexico. Oil, once the rig exploded, the hole that they were digging, oil was just oozing out of that hole constantly for 87 days. And so all of that oil ended up into the Gulf of Mexico, and of course that definitely is not very good for the organisms that live in that part of the ocean. And also that oil ended up making its way all the way to the coast. And this diagram kind of talks a little bit about what prevented the oil from getting over here to Texas, some of the currents that exist here in the Gulf of Mexico. So you're going to read through that. So that's the leaking oil section. Then there's the cleanup efforts. So what efforts were being taken to clean up the oil. So it'll talk about some of the different methods that some of these companies used to try to clean up as much oil. You can see here in the picture, they use this kind of a floating, they call it a boom, to collect as much oil as they possibly could, and then they set it on fire to burn it, so to get it out of the water. So a controlled burn of oil. And then there's a section here about aftermath and impact. And then what were the environmental costs here. And then I think that's it. So those are the sections. Okay, so you're going to read through that article, and then your job, your assignment is to answer these questions. Okay, so this is a case study. And I have it broken down into the segments, so it'll be easier for you to find the answers in the article. So you've got some questions here about the explosion, questions from leaking oil, questions from cleanup efforts, and environmental costs, and then you've got a conclusion part right here. So my only request here is right here. So when you type your answers, please type them in a different text color, or you can bold them, but just do something with the text so that it looks different than the question. So it's just easier for me and my old eyes to be able to differentiate between what the questions are and what the answers are. Okay, so there's 15, I believe 15 total questions here as you read the article, so that's what you have to do as it relates to the article. And it doesn't matter what order you do it in, but then when you're done with that, you're going to submit it, turn it in for a grade. And then the last thing you have to do this week is this 10-question quiz. Question number 1, even though it's not numbered, you're just going to choose what class period I have you. And then questions 2 through 11 as you go through the form. So it looks like there's 11 questions, but the first question is you choosing what class period you're in. So you don't need to worry about that. I mean, you do need to worry about it, but you can't get it wrong. It's not going to count against you. Okay? So again, just to quickly recap what you're going to do this week. You're going to read the article, Deepwater Horizon, watch any of the videos that I put in the classroom describing what happened. Then you're going to go through the case study and answer the questions that are here. And then when you're done with that, we're going to do the quiz and turn that in. And so your 2 grades for week 7 will be the case study and the quiz. Okay? So again, just want to remind you, try to stay on top of things, do your work in a timely manner. Grades are being taken from week 5 on, so if you haven't done week 5 assignments yet, you can always go back and do those. You can do those until the end of May. And then week 6, of course, is due today, May 3rd. So you need to get on that as well. And then this is the work for week 7. Okay? Again, reach out to me, private comment, send me an email. If you have any questions or don't understand something, I'll be happy to get back to you. I think if you talk to anybody that sent me a message, I get back to them pretty quick. Of course, I'm not up at 3 o'clock in the morning like some of you all, but if you do get in touch with me, then I get back to you as soon as I can. All right, guys. Again, I hope everybody's safe. Hope everybody's doing well. Not going a little too stir crazy. And we miss you. And let me know if you need any help. All right, guys. All right. Bye.